Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we're going to go over a few things this video, but I'm going to address one thing that I would like to talk about. There is going to be a video that I may or may not do it with a co-host, but it will be coming relatively soon. I don't think it will be this week, but possibly next week. If I do it with this week, it'll probably be like Friday or something. But what I'll be doing is that there will be a video such as this right here that will be uploaded and shown to kind of going over it and going into back and forth into where women are thinking, where essentially women are doing this whole trans thing or whatever and kind of opting out of their own type of stuff to destroy themselves. And I kind of want to show that in full fashion here because it's the reality that what women are doing currently is that's a problem. Now, obviously, not all women are going to do this, and I probably still will get women talking about how that's a problem, and you're addressing all women when I'm not. But I'm saying it's a majority because the majority of you voted Democrat, so this is an issue when you keep on pushing this stuff. In other news, we have a Black Lives Matter, that whole great organization, which is being headed to a collapse. It looks like people might be heading to bankruptcy because they are just not making enough money. And hopefully that does happen because it's always been a sham organization. They have never been good. They are bloody terrible. And it's time that it happens. They have caused more death, more chaos, more harm to this country than almost anybody else besides Antifa. And these people need to be brought down. Here's a video and a clip of kind of showing what's going on, and hopefully it does happen. Take a look.
Homelessness and all this other garbage y'all talk about, police violence and all this stuff, don't nobody care about that. Don't nobody real care about that. We care about our reparations, and we have to put white people on notice that we want our reparations, that our foreparents and us, we didn't work for free and underpaid and all this nonsense, and the white folks get away with it. And they talk about the great city they're building. No, we want our reparations. $3 million per person. $3 million per person right here in this city. That's the only thing black people got to care about. All this other little nonsense y'all talk about, we do not care about.
Good. Okay, let's talk about Black Lives Matter. This is probably going to end up being an utter waste of my time having you on the show. What are your thoughts about
You
Black
don't know
Lives
that.
Matter?
You may learn something.
We'll see, preacher. What is it about Black Lives Matter that you disagree with fundamentally?
Black Lives Matter was founded by a bunch of fat black radical lesbians.
Okay.
And who
All
hate
right, have a good
God.
man. Get this clown off my show. I appreciate you.
Who
Thank you
hate
for being-
God, who hate the
Thank you,
nuclear
sir.
family.
Yeah.
What I deserve is not what any of us deserve. So just be diligent when you see shit in the media and you see shit that's being talked about. Please be diligent because they are purposefully doing this.
Now, they're asking for reparations, and we're going to kind of go through this and kind of explain what's going on and why this is stupid and why it probably won't work. This may be a little bit off of the broad conservative perspective, guy, but, I try to keep it a little bit more closer to the goalpost, and I have my own opinions on this. We think similar in this way. If you give people free money, there's most likely a good chance that they're going to waste it. We look at this with the lottery, where most people get this money and they usually end up wasting it throughout the times because they don't know how to manage or deal with money. And instead of using that money to invest it to get more money, they waste it by multiple things and stuff, what have you. As I said before, I am a more of a man that would like to benefit my community than try to bring it down. Or rather, in the sense of trying to help my friends, not really the community, because trusting people nowadays and knowing people nowadays is always a sketch and you never know what's going to happen. So I try to help the people that are around me. Now, depending on how much money that I have and what I can actually use it with, it depends. So, for instance, if I get like $5,000, well, I'm probably not going to give any money to anybody because $5,000 is not nearly enough money to be giving out and be giving 500 or something to people because it's I can still use that for my own great needs and benefits. But if it's an excessive amount of money, even like if it's 20K or 30K, I'm probably going to give some amount of money to people because, to my friends around me because it's a lot of money. Or for God forbid, if I get like $1 million, as I said before on this channel, I'll give people my friends specifically money that would be benefit. Now, obviously, my friends, obviously, I would have to choose correctly because some friends would just use the money and not be able to benefit at all. There's some people or one specific person that I don't think would actually use the money in any correct way at all. But that being said, giving these people money that they're demanding reparations, especially $3 million, is asinine. And one thing some of these people are not really talking about is, well, maybe some of them are, but the fact that it matters is that the money that you would receive, the money that you would be getting from that state or whatever, cannot afford to give every single black person $3 million or $500,000 or even $100,000, because the fact of the matter is that that money would bankrupt the state. It would not. It would completely collapse it because you don't have that much money lying around. It's like they think that money just grows on trees, but it isn't. So you asking for that is asking for to bankrupt the state, and then you essentially getting no money and you're living in a horrible worse situation because you just bankrupted the state for getting your reparations. Another issue is that when you have this money just come flowing through and stuff like that, you have other issues that you would have to tackle. So I don't see where this is going to be a great benefit to society to when you have stuff like this. So with BLM trying to pretty much falling apart and dying, we have this: the new BLM head, Circle Gay, has filed for personal bankruptcy 3 times. So yeah, this person has filed for bankruptcy at least 3 times. And nonprofit. She's a nonprofit, Flacken named chair of Black Lives Global Network Foundation in April, filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy in 2005, 2013, and 2016. Federal court records show. Her most recent filing from August 2016 showed Gay and had more than $112,000 in debts, including $55,000 in student loans from her time studying at Liberty University in Virginia and the University of Kansas, and more than $18,000 for leasing a Lincoln MKZ sedan. She also claimed to have $3,000 in medical expenses and owed $8,000 to 2 Christian schools, according to the school records. The Atlanta-based consultant to submit to court mandated courses on managing her money for filings indicate and completed 1 course on December 15th, 2016. Yeah, well, obviously this is not really a surprise because people that get this free money are just going to waste it spending on stuff that's not really relative. If you get money, an excess amount of money, you should be able to invest it or put it into something and make it, put up a business. Maybe not to really, put it this way. You don't have to do it to benefit your own community, right? You can do it to just benefit yourself, right? You can be selfish in this act and create your own business and make money for yourself. Obviously, you don't want to completely hose people, obviously, when you make your business, because that's just going to make your business crumble. But again, you can make it to where you benefit yourself. I don't see where anybody wants to work a 9-to-5 job every single day, all day, for the rest of their lives, with not having some type of business. Now, some people do, I agree, and that's fine if they so choose that. However, in this instance, just make a business, have your own job, set your own times, and be able to work that way. Obviously, it's harder said than done, right? And this only works with a huge excess of money or making investments along your life to actually start up the business. So I understand that. But there's ways to just get yourself out of the gutter, and these people are not really doing it. So we have that, and then we also have this. Black Lives Matter is headed for insolvency after plunging $8.5 million into the red, but founder Patrice Cutler's brother was still paid $1.6 million for security services in 2022, while sister or board member earned $1.5 million for consulting. So yeah, this is interesting. So it says the BLM's national organization is at risk of going bankrupt after its finances plunged $8.5 million into the red last year, while simultaneously handling multiple staff 7-figure salaries. Which again, this is stupid. You just don't. You have to give staff or people the correct amount of money that you can actually afford to pay your staff, not give them a huge excess amount of money and then not be able to do any other type of business activities. This is not very difficult. If say for instance for the esports, you lose money, you don't really gain anything. So from a business perspective, and trying to earn or go even in money is almost bloody impossible. So Yeah, and so final disclosures obtained by the Washington Free Beacon show the pluralist state of BLM's Global Network Foundation, which officially emerged in November 2020 as a more formal way of structuring the civil rights movement. Yet, despite the financial controversy and scrutiny, BLM and GNF continue to hire freelancers of the founder Patrice Cullors and several board members. Paul Cullors was also one of the BLM's only 2 paid employees during the year, collecting $226,000 salary as a head of security. On top of his consulting fee, he is best known as a graffiti artist with no background in security. Yeah, so and I don't think that you need to have a background as something to be to be good at your job. That's one of the problems I have with the degrees, is that just because you have a degree doesn't necessarily mean you're good at your job. You may have the actual knowledge, but can you apply that knowledge in an actual real life scenario? This is what we call people with being street smart and book smart. Normally, half the time, I would want to take the people that are street smart, because normally they're usually more hardworking, and might actually be able to get something done, and they are actually able to critically think. We have people with book smart. Well, books don't really tell you to do something, don't really give you a good outlier or a good idea of how good you are, how smart you are. People will work in different ways and have different ways of performing, and I never liked book smart people. I think they're not the greatest people in the club. I'll put it that way. So yeah, we have this here that is just causing a stir. Now we have this as well, that we have the Black Lives Matter hemorrhage cash in 2022 tax documents show. So what we have here is just this one article, so we'll probably go through this whole thing. Black Lives Matter bled cash and suffered blistering investment losses in 2022. According to a copy of its tax return obtained by the Washington Free Beacon, Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation ran an $8.5 million deficit and saw the value of its investment accounts plummet by nearly $10 million in the most recent tax year. Financial disclosures show the group logged a $961,000 loss on a securities sale of $272,000, suggesting that charity weathered a staggering 85% loss on the transaction. These troubles didn't stop BLM from doling out 7-figure contracts to friends and family of its former executive director, Patrice Cullors, who once said charity financial disclosures were triggering and deeply unsafe. It's no surprise that Cullors was so fearful of disclosing Black Lives Matter's finances to the public. The revelations in Black Lives Matter's latest from 990 show that the group is on the fast track to financial insolvency, and that the excess of Cullors' tenure have not abated under her chosen successor, Shamila Bowers. But the financial losses come after a year of missteps and setbacks for the embattled charity. BLM raised just $9.3 million in its 2022 fiscal year, down 88% from its haul the year prior. Black Lives Matter was forced to shut off its online fundraising streams in February 2022 due to compliance and transparency issues in several liberal states. The group has blown through 2/3 of the $90 million it raised in the wake of George Floyd's death in summer 2020. BLM spent about $12 million of those funds on luxury homes in Los Angeles and Toronto that prodigiously did not abate in the 2022 fiscal year, when the charity dropped more than $10.5 million on contractors, much of which went to companies linked to Cullors' friends and family. Cullors' brothers, Paul Cullors, made out especially well. A graffiti artist with no prior experience as a bodyguard, Paul Cullors and his 2 companies raked in $1.6 million providing professional security services for Black Lives Matter in 2022. Paul Cullors was also one of BLM's only 2 paid employees during the year, collecting a $126,000 salary as a head of security on top of the consulting fees. Here's the thing: what I try to tell Black people in general is that Black Lives Matter never really cared for you, because as you can see here, these people are just looking out for themselves and only themselves, and that's it. They didn't really contribute to anything. They destroyed more businesses than things. They just killed more people than anything. They didn't really help the Black community. What they should have done was try to use those funds to try to get obviously more Black people out of crime, instead of committing crime and putting them in jail and killing more Black people and shutting down more Black businesses, and maybe try to get people into better aspects of their life, create an actual program that helps and stuff like that. But they don't care about Black lives, because if they actually did, they would actually try to help the Black community, but they never once did. And here's the thing: I'm not like a huge person when it comes to the Black community and stuff like that. I don't have like an actual emotional attachment to the Black community at all. Mostly because the way I see it is that I see a lot of hooligans running around committing crimes and stuff, and I just don't want to associate myself with a group or a subsection of people that constantly do that on a daily basis. And that's not every black person, obviously, because one, I'm not one of those people. But again, it's just when you constantly see it over and over again, it's annoying, and it's annoying that this bloody happens, and it makes me not want to associate with these group of people, and yeah, it's just quite annoying in every regard. While Patrice Cullors was forced to resign due to charge of using BLM funds for her personal use, like she's still keeping it all in the family, said Paul Kaminer, attorney for the National Legal and Policy Center Watchdog Group. Bowers, the Black Lives Matter board member and close friend of Cullors, hauled in a hefty bounty during the charity's 2022 tax year. Black Lives Matter paid his company Bowers Consulting $1.7 million for management and consulting. Bowers' management of Black Lives Matter earned him new friends in the movement Black Lives Matter Grassroots, a former sister organization of Black Lives Matter, accused Bowers of blazing a path of irreparable harm to BLM by treating the charity as his personal piggy bank. His actions have led Black Lives Matter into multiple investigations by the Internal Revenue Service and various state attorney generals. The lawsuit stated, instead of using the donations for its intended purposes, Mr. Bowers diverted these donations to his own coffers and intentionally took calculated steps to prevent those same resources from being used by BLM for the on-the-ground movement work. The sister of former Black Lives Matter board member Raymond Howard brought in a seven-figure consulting fee as well. BLM paid Daniel Edwards' firm, new and back partners, $1.4 million for consulting services in 2022. Black Lives Matter is also agreed to pay an additional $600,000 to unidentified former board members to consulting firm connection with the contract dispute. The charity disclosed in its audited financial statements. Nobody absent from Black Lives Matter 2022 tax return in any mention of Trap Heels, the art firm by the father of Cullors' only child, Damon Turner. BLM paid $969,000 to Trap Heels in 2021, and the two companies were identified as partners in press reports well into BLM's 2022 tax year. So yeah, so we all know that they're a corrupt organization. This was not really a surprise, and this came out, I want to say, fairly recently in years, right? Fairly recently, and it's just, the reparations is not going to fix anything. They're not going to manage things. Black people, at least these specific black people, are not going to do the due diligence of all this stuff, so that'll collapse. So yeah, essentially, Black Lives Matter is heading into bankruptcy, and they could actually end up collapsing, which good, because they no longer need to be in our society at all. Same thing with Antifa. There's also other people that are funding Antifa that we may have to look into, because yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on there, and we need to actually end up confirming some of this stuff, because it ain't good. Alright guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share. As always, take care.